Welcome to Event Experience by Bizzabo, the podcast where we bring the best and brightest event experience leaders together to share stories, tips, and lessons learned from creating some of the world's biggest events. I'm Rachel Moore, your podcast host. This episode might be the best pitch we've had in a while for why people should dive into event planning. Nicole Nichols, events and meeting planner at ISG, is my guest, and together we're about to explore the creation of transformative experiences for attendees. We'll also dig into AI and how we're all feeling about it as a tool to varying degrees in this profession we have around event experience. We're back here on Event Experience for a new episode and a new guest. Our guest is tapping in with over 20 years of experience in the industry. It's one of my favorite things to share is when people can when I can come on and share the breadth of someone's knowledge that they're about to drop here in the episode. But she has benefited brands like the New York Academy of Medicine, and she was recognized on the 100 Blacks in Events for giving back into the industry. She is currently serving as the Events and Meeting Planner at ISG, Information Services Group. I am so happy to welcome Nicole Nichols to Event Experience. Nicole, thanks for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you, Rachel. I am so happy to be here with you today.
All right. You're about to spend the whole day on the ground, several hours at an event. What shoes are you going to be wearing to make sure you get through it?
I'm wearing, they're not sneakers. I'm going to call them the hiking shoes.
Ooh.
I know. And I have a pair and my friends know, you really need to give those up. And I'm like, no, I won't. No, I won't. No.
Nope.
No. They are just so comfortable. I love them to death. They are my go-tos. When I'm having a 14-hour day, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those bad boys are on.
Awesome. That's great. See, every event planner can relate. They're like, oh yeah, no, I got to think about that.
Oh, yes.
That's right. What are you listening to, watching, or even reading these days that you can't put down and it does not have to be related to events?
I am reading right now Let Them, The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, which I'm highly enjoying. And listening-wise, I do a lot of listening to meditation.
Nice.
Online.
Yeah.
I have to keep my mind. You know what I mean?
I do. I know. I mean, listen to this podcast, but that's only going to get you part of the way there. But yeah,
right, exactly.
No, you got to give that mental break. I love that you bring that up too.
You have to woosah.
Well, yeah. That's great. I love it. No, that's good. That's good. I might spring this question on you. You might be the first person I ask this. Because usually I ask people if there's a hot take or a social post or piece of media that's been on their mind lately. And we can go to that if this question doesn't work. What is your favorite AI prompt you're using these days to help you plan events?
I just go to ChatGPT. That's my go-to. At first, I was leery. And not leery because of the platform.
Right.
But leery just because I'm old school. I'm like, what? Something's going to think for me? What are you talking about? What's happening here? And I started getting into it and I was like, okay, I could see how this is a really great thing. On the flip side, I could also see some of the cons, but ChatGPT right now is my go-to.
Well, that's partner in crime there. That's awesome. I'm excited to learn. I can only cram your whole 20 years in your bio into 2 sentences at the beginning. So I never stop there. I am now going to ask you, could you tell us a bit more about you, what your day-to-day is like at ISG, but just who's joining me across this microphone today?
Sure. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, currently, as you mentioned, I am the events and meeting planner here at ISG. I handle all of our budgetary needs. Yes, all of that. So you can imagine for each event, I source for all of our venues and that's across the country. So it spans the gamut. I am in charge of vendor management. So cultivating those relationships, maintaining those connections, and everything that falls in between that, as you can imagine, being an event professional.
Well, I think our audience is right now going, I'm reading between the lines.
Yes.
I'm seeing all the things you describe, but all the nuances and logistics and everything in between all that, that fills in the gaps, the brick and mortar, as it were, of
Absolutely
being an event professional. So the budget thing freaked me out for one thing. If my husband were on this podcast, he'd be telling everybody, no, keep her away from all of that.
No way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I already am very much in awe of your experience.
Well, thank you.
Of course. And we're going to share a lot more here too, because when we were prepping for this episode and, kind of excited about the topics we're going to get into today, we were talking about, should we talk about attendees? And this show it's by event planners. It's for event planners, and event planners are all focused on mostly one singular thing, and that would be attendees. Those folks decide if our event meets registration and attendance goals. They decide if we meet revenue goals. They decide if we generate brand awareness or not. I'd love to ask you, how would you describe the event attendee of today, and what event planners need to be mindful of in your opinion? How we need to be mindful of those attendees of today as we plan for their experiences?
Great question. I sort of have termed it, or maybe this term is out there, but it's the next level attendee. What that means is that the attendees of today and moving forward are very intentional. They are very intentional with their time. Okay. So it's not just about content anymore. It is about the total experience of what they're walking into. And that's the moment that they walk in the door, even before they hit registration. That's the moment an organization decides that it's going to have an event, and it starts promoting the event. When you put out a save the date, when you put up your registration platform, those are all crucial touch points. Okay. It doesn't start the day of the event. It starts months before. It starts at conception. So our attendees are now requiring much more from us. They're requiring us to be, again, intentional, mindful, and thoughtful into what we are asking of them. We're asking them to give their time to us. So we have to make sure that we are capturing all of these touch points for them. What is that experience when they walk into the space? We've all heard about this. Registration, as I say, is the first line of defense. It's that first tone that is set when someone is coming to an event. What's that experience like? Is it cumbersome? Is it easy? What are we capturing there? Everything is an opportunity at an event. And I don't call an event, I call it an experience. I sort of compare it to, this is my own comparison. It's like when you invite someone over to your house for dinner.
Yeah.
You want them to have one heck of a great time.
That's right.
You want them leaving saying, oh my God, when are you having something else, Rachel? You've got to let me know. This is fantastic. That's how our attendees should be leaving our events. That they have been so tantalized that they're like, oh my God, please I need to make sure I'm on your mailing list so I know when your next events are coming up. I'm not sure if I can make it, but if I can, I will be there and I will let my people know as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's that next level attendee that is bringing more to the table than just their presence. They're bringing their whole entire selves into the space. And that's why it's just not about the content. It is about the total experience.
There's a couple things I want to dig in there too, because almost kind of reverse engineering it from what you said too, because it's like, if you're talking about they're bringing more, they're expecting more.
Yes.
But they're also bringing more. This isn't merely transactional. You're not setting up an event to say, hey, wallet, come into my door. And I know that I'm going to be a budget line item. That's my goal. They're bringing more than that. And that's why as an event planner, you're like, okay, I loved how you said that. That was a moment there too, where you were like, I want to be on your mailing list, so I at least know what you're going to be planning next, because this was such an amazing experience, like you said. Thanks too for the little shout out about our name of our podcast, Event Experience. I did not pay her to do that, y'all. But how often do we see people, I'd love to, like, if I could poll our audience right now, how often have they had people saying, how do I get on your mailing list? Nobody wants to get on mailing lists nowadays
No.
and hand over that email address, let alone some of your budget and stuff for things that you're, the wares that are going on and things going on at an event.
Absolutely.
But I love that you mentioned that too, that they're bringing that more. They're coming in the door and they're bringing, like you said, their whole selves. Like that's got to be transformational too for the event itself.
Totally. And it's requiring the event professional or the event organizer to level up, as I call it. As I like to say, being good is great. Being great is even better. There's always room to look for new ways of doing things, new ways of reaching your target audience. And it's so important to, I dated myself, but I love a good survey. I still love a good survey, not even at the end, but even in the middle, especially if you have a very large conference. So don't wait till the end because there's been so much. You have so many sessions. There's so much going on. You have the exhibit component. You have the content component. You have the networking component. These are all things that are data points. That's a whole nother realm there. Those data points, because for me, in my mind, those data points justify our existence.
That's for real.
Because the numbers don't lie, the numbers talk, and they will always keep it real with you.
Oh my gosh, right? I love that you're talking too about not waiting until, okay, it's the day after, or let's wait until, especially if people traveled for it. Let's wait until they get home and get settled in. No, doing it in the middle when they're in the midst and immersed in the experience that you're giving them and okay, real time. Let me tell you how this is feeling right now.
It's so important because what may be important to us and what we think is important to our target audience may not be what's really important to them. So you always want to make sure you do a temperature check, as I call it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with reassessing, okay, are we hitting the mark? Because we're in an ever-changing environment, especially nowadays. Every single minute, it's changing. So it's finding those sweet spots that attract that audience for us.
Yeah. I like too that you relate it. Who can't relate with this, right? Even if you're like an introvert, you probably have family or friends that are going to come over to your home at some point.
Yes.
And we all know how, even if you're like, okay, I don't really do deep clean all the time. I'm going to clean before they come over. Or you're like, I'm preparing meal or, a spread of food or drinks for them to have. Or I really want to show off this part of my house. And I want to make sure when they walk up, they know how to get in and know how to where the facilities are, all those aspects. And the same thing, you explode that out to where it's the event that you're putting on for the brand that you work for. That same level of TLC needs to happen.
Absolutely.
They need to feel it.
Absolutely. And they'll see it. They will see it in the event itself, the intentionality, the attention to detail of thoughtfulness, of mindfulness, even right down to having quiet spaces built into your event. The world doesn't stop because they're attending our event.
Right.
It keeps going on. You have to acknowledge that. So that needs to be built in, as we're seeing in the events industry now, very heavy on talking about the health and wellness of our attendees, but also the event professionals too, because, early mornings and late nights. Yeah. We know how that is.
Yeah.
We're talking about so much here, it's so much to, so many nuggets we're digging up here. So
absolutely. It really does speak to the profession itself. There are so many aspects to it. It is not just one train or one, track of expertise. You really do have to put all those things to work. You're talking about health and wellness. You're talking about intentionality. And I think I want to ask you this question because with all the things we're doing, it can be tempting and it can be easy sometimes to say, all right, well, I'm just going to kind of wash, rinse, repeat. I've got a formula that we do for our event. If you're doing an event year over year, same event, and you're like, well, I'm just going to keep rolling with what I know has worked. Right. We're looking at the data points, but we're considering this next level attendee. Maybe that's not the way. I would like to ask you, how can event planners today avoid falling into that rut of, hey, I'm building this over and over. I build it every year. I'll build it again. And maybe they still are thinking this is merely transaction of information. It's not
Right.
more than that. How do we help them maybe think more about that Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Like, nah, you got to go deeper on this next level attendee.
Absolutely. It's not just transactional, it's transformative.
Yeah.
As event professionals, I would think we're always looking for that next thing, even if it's the smallest thing, just to make it a little bit better. No one is saying that, every single year you have to totally morph your event into this brand new entity. That's a lot of heavy lifting. We understand that. But it goes back to really assessing if you are hitting your target marks with your audience. Because if you're missing the marks with the audience, you really don't have an event, or you will end up not having an event at the end of the day. Because we're not just asking financially from our attendees. Again, we're asking for their time, we're asking for their energy, because they need to be present in the space.
Yep.
So we need to be looking at always, how can we enhance the experience for them?
Yeah.
The enhancement, again, doesn't mean that we have to spend additional XYZ amount of dollars. That's not what it means. It could just mean a small little change, but we have to level up to match where our attendees are at. And it's so important to really do that assessment of who our audience is.
Yep.
But not just who. What are their needs? What are their wants? What keeps them up at night? And how can we then turn around and help take some of that weight off of them?
Yeah. Wow. That is transformative. I mean, I think about that. You've had 20 years in the events industry. I've had 17 in marketing, and it all the other stuff aside, you really are trying to say, what is the thing that kept you up last night? That your brain wouldn't turn off. You probably were feeling anxious about it, and you're still, even if you've compartmentalized it away, it's still lingering. What is that thing? And how do I help you not feel that way anymore?
Exactly.
Right?
How can I make your job a little bit easier?
Yeah.
By coming to this event, what sore points am I making a little softer for you?
Yep.
That you can take back to your boss, to your company, and look like a superstar maybe. Be like, oh, I went to this event and, they were talking this up, and I know we've talked about some of these things. And, that's how you keep the shelf life also of an event going. Events just don't end when the event ends. We have to keep remembering that. Our events have shelf life. And that's how the increase in attendee, the growth of the attendee happens. Not just the numbers, because again, we're talking about transformative attendance. So it's not just the numbers, but it's also what people are walking away with from attending.
Absolutely. Just thinking about that too, where they have no shortage of other events they could be spending their time and energy and money on. And you have to, and this gets a lot into the pre-event stuff, but and then of course proof is in the pudding during your event, but you have to be able to convince them, be like, no, I know you've got alternatives. This is the one for you. This is the one that's going to solve that pain point, that's going to make you sleep better at night, that's going to make you shine at your job, save your budget, all the things that are mattering to you. That's a huge undertaking for event planners to tap into that before they even say, yeah, I'm going to register.
Exactly. And you hit on something, Rachel, because as I call it, the landscape is vast now. And the reason it's so vast, in my opinion, is because what the attendee now is calling for are these micro communities. It's no more of just the large types of conferences where it's like a high level content discussion sort of thing. No, it is very micro.
Yeah.
Very central to different sectors within the industry.
Yeah.
And that is where it becomes so important to really look at, okay, what are we trying to drive here? What's our driving force here?
Yeah.
Because the attendee is like, well, listen, I play in this lane here. I don't play over to the left. I don't play to the right. I'm in the center.
Yeah.
So why is this important to me? Are you talking my language? How is this going to impact my daily activity, my daily job activity? How can I add value by coming to your event? How can I add value to my job?
That's right. That's right. These are the gold. I knew. See, I was like, and these are the things that are so front of mind for our audience, for event planners today. Because some of this we might inherently know or realize, but other things, it's like we just need that reminder, and the intention has to be there. This is going to segue a bit because we're talking about transforming people.
Yes.
We're talking about being intentional. We're talking about micro communities, making those one-to-one, one-to-small group experiences happen that are going to matter in the long term. We'll be right back with more event experience after the break.
Behind every great event organizer is software that makes managing the small stuff easy so you can focus on crafting events that matter. From seamless registration and on-site solutions like the VisiBox to powerful dashboards and the Click Smart Badge, Visibo's Event Experience Operating System is your all-in-one solution to planning conferences that captivate and experiences that elevate. Visit Visibo.com. That's BIZZABO.com to learn more.
We're back with Nicole Nichols to delve into the two vowels that are evolving how we approach events. Well, then we enter the machinery, shall we say.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Of this industry, and not just this industry. Everybody and their brother and their sister and their mother and their niece and everybody is dealing with this. You all know it's coming.
Let's say it.
Let's say it. AI.
There you
two
go.
Letters, those those two vowels have
Yep.
just risen to the fore. And we're all having to, whether we're doing it with cringe or we're doing it joyfully or anywhere in between, embracing, starting to utilize AI. Coming out of all this, you obviously are very intentional in your planning for humans, but we know you got to be using AI, right? Well, can you share with us how you're using AI in your planning and strategy with all this intention in mind, right?
Absolutely. I see AI as being an amplifier. It's not a replacement for human connection. Let me say that. Okay.
Yeah.
My own personal opinion. It is a tool that can help us analyze those micro communities that I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how I view AI.
Yeah.
That's how AI could help event professionals. Again, it's not a replacement for human connection. I don't think you can ever replace human connection when it comes to events specifically. How I use it or strategize about it is just that. How can it help me enhance the experience? Whether it's digital components or digital elements, I also always think of any new tool that comes on the scene as how is this going to speak the event for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
What does it look like? I always take myself out of the event professional seat. And sometimes it's a bad thing because even personally, I can go into events and I start like, oh no, this shouldn't be like this. Seriously. And my friends are like, would you stop for a minute? Can you
just be here?
Can you just take that hat off for a second? I'm like, I'm sorry. You know,
you can't help it. That's what you do, right? You're like,
that's how you know when you are living your purpose and passion, because it's just with you.
Yeah.
Wherever you go. Even my son is like, can you stop trying to plan every single thing? I said, I'm sorry.
Like, I can't. I really can't. I'm sorry.
I really can't. I'm sorry. I can't. But no, AI is definitely part of the event strategy. Again, it's not a replacement. It's an addition. Yeah. I see it as, okay, I ask myself, how can it add value? And this is not to say that it's in every single event.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean just because it's the hot topic,
Right.
hot thing on the scene, if you know what I mean,
I do.
that it needs to be in every single event. It has to make sense at the end of the day, because if it doesn't make sense, it'll fall flat in your event. And we all know that, there's a budgetary aspect to all of these things.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I say, don't let AI drive you. You drive AI.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yep. That's the soundbite of the episode right there. It's like, well, and I'm going to go back to what I confessed at the beginning, that accounting is not my purpose, not my reason for being on this planet, but I can use a calculator. I can use an Excel spreadsheet.
You sure can.
Use tools that'll be like, look, I got all these numbers, and if I change this up here, I need it to
exactly.
Let me see that down there. Sure, I could pull out a pencil and paper and go scratch all that out, but instead I can use a tool, and that's what AI is.
It is.
Like you just said, you've got the data points, and you can say, hey, help me with this. And what does this tell me?
Exactly.
I've got an idea, but I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Shout out, let's go. What is it giving me? And you absolutely can use it for stuff like that. And it can make that happen faster for you even.
Exactly. And it gives you, as to your point, it drills down more. It peels the layers back even further.
Yeah.
So that you can really get a clear line of sight into who your attendee base is. What's the journey that we're trying to take them on? Because it is a journey. So what are all of those things that we are trying to achieve? Because we each have goals. You have the event goals, but then you also have attendee goals.
Yep.
Okay. And we won't know every single solitary attendee goal, but we can have a pretty good sense based on what we are providing through the event as to why they are attending, why they are in this space for this particular amount of time.
Yeah, it's super key. And even I'll say too, obviously this podcast is put on by Bizzabo. I mean, we've got the click badge, where that's giving some very real-time data points. But exactly, you can absolutely go in and be like, okay, well, tell me, what did it mean when this many people took this journey through the event versus this group that maybe deviated over here, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I want to address this too, and this will hopefully kind of bring this full circle, because everybody's got an opinion about AI, and all of that is valid. There are so many aspects to it, good, bad, middle. On one of our prior episodes, I love what a guest pointed out, who's an event planner. They said, AI is not going to fill those swag bags for me. Right?
Listen, and they are 1,000% right on that.
Well, and I was like, it was a great analogy to just like, well, yeah, ChatGPT is not going to pop out of its window and arms and start like putting that pen and that brochure and that sticker in there for me, or lanyard. It's not going to do that. And I don't know if you might have your own example of where AI cannot practically extend beyond you and into the power and agency of a human event planner. But I would like this, when I talk about those opinions and the perspectives people have about AI, event planners' perspective on AI, what's something you can give our audience to take away with them as they continue to form that perspective as it evolves?
I think the takeaway is that our industry is evolving. Always at its foundation will be that human connectedness, but I almost want to say the interconnectedness of AI and all of these other different components, the intentionality, the mindfulness, the thoughtfulness, all of those things are interconnected. One thing does not operate outside of the other ones. You need each part to make the collective whole and to make it run. Always realizing that we are evolving, but at its core, it's that human connectedness that will keep us. It's like when I'm going into my scientist mode now, but it's almost like when the veins or when the electrodes are lit and they're buzzing, that's that interconnectedness. That's that human connectedness. Think about when you're at an event and your senses are just going off. And it's like, oh my God. It brings to mind like Disney World, the first time you went to Disney World. And it's like, oh my God. Like there's just so much and you want to take it all in all at once. You're like, oh my God. It's almost like overload.
Yeah.
That is what will never go away with events.
Mm.
No matter how technologically we evolve in the space, that is what will never go away, because as human beings, it is our five senses that drives us. So I don't think there should be a fear necessarily of AI or any new technology that comes on the scene.
Yeah.
I think it's just how we embrace it and the placement of it, the proper placement of it.
Yeah, like where to not
overuse
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can be easy to it's tempting, right?
It's very tempting. When new things come on the scene, it's the sexy thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, ooh, it's the new toy.
Yeah.
How can we utilize this? And that's great. And we should look for ways to enhance the experience, the attendee experience, making the journey that much more exciting for them. You know, and it's whether it's through content, whether it's through networking opportunities that's there at registration, the first point, the first line of defense, as I call it, you know, as long as the placement is in the right place, it'll add value.
Absolutely.
But when, you know, we have to be realist in understanding at its core, events is the human connection. So anything that we use, anything we look to add value has to enhance that connectedness.
It's interesting because before we wrap and kind of get to some of the and toward the end of episode questions, but it's almost like too for people who are in what I've actually been contemplating, because as we get into the questions, I typically ask our guests. I always ask the same questions, but now I'm like, I think I'm going to have to swap one out, because one of them will be like, what's your favorite AI prompt to help you do your job? But you almost could even on that vein, you could prompt the AI tool you're using to say, I need you at all times to remember that the human connection is, just like you're telling it what style of voice you want to use, what your tone, what are the goals, you can give it all this guidance, but you can actually tell it the human is the point, and to remember that in anything it,
absolutely
coughs up for you. But good stuff. Maybe we'll have you back in about a year's time too, and be like, so
hey,
how's it going? Where are we now?
I'd love to come back. This
well,
has
let's
been great.
do it. Easiest question of all, where can our listeners find and follow you online?
I am right on LinkedIn. I am not hiding.
You're just like, I am here.
I am
and I'm
right
ready
there.
to plan.
Yes.
Nicole helps us level up with her advice about constantly learning and remembering why we do what we do.
Be a consummate learner. No matter how long you've been in this industry, there's always something new, always something you can take away from, whether it be from another event professional. Always look to up, again, as I call it. Look for those small ways to justify the importance of events in general. It's so important, because events really are an experience. It's not just an event. People will even now say, oh, it's just an event. I'm like, oh, stop it. No, it's not. Please don't. Yeah. It is so much more than just. It's literally an entire experience. So what I say to professionals is, make that experience the best experience that you possibly can. Listen to your attendees. Be a consummate learner. Always looking for ways to level up. If you're good, that's wonderful. Look for ways to be better, best, the bestest. There's always room for advancement in general. And we're not just talking about, the conferences and, workshops. No, we're talking about the gatherings. We're talking about live events. We're talking about this right here. This isn't an event. This is an experience, at the end of the day. So when you look at it from that standpoint, you're like, oh, wow, it is not just. It's the experience of it.
Thanks again to Nicole Nichols for joining us on Event Experience. And thank you for listening. If you're enjoying the show, we'd love to hear it. Connect with us on social and subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you're listening. Also, don't forget to share the show with your colleagues and friends. You can find transcripts of each episode and key takeaways on bizzabo.com/podcast. On behalf of the team, thank you. We'll gather again soon for a new episode of Event Experience.